Our next speaker will be Deb Nicholson from the Python Software Foundation, who will be providing updates from the PSF and rewarding the Community Service Award.
Thanks, Marietta. All right, get the clicker set up. I had better luck with my Linux than Spot did. Never suspend, just leave it running. So if you were here last year, I also was on this stage, but I didn't know what I was doing or what was going on because I'd been here for about 3 weeks. So this is me coming back to you a year later to kind of tell you how the first year has gone. And it has really been quite a year. So the first thing that happens when you tell people you're the executive director at the Python Software Foundation is that everybody tells you what they use Python for. Like everyone, literally everyone. So I live in Cambridge, Massachusetts. That's a place with a lot of like biotech. There's people doing gene sequencing. There's people doing all kinds of like astrophysics. Like we have lots and lots of people in the neighborhood who it turns out all use Python. So when I tell you everyone tells me what they're using Python for, I mean like everyone I meet. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. This one's maybe there's a lot of folks in the audience that already do this, but I thought it was cool. It was like, oh, you use it to talk to your Nest thermostat. Like you save a little money on your heating bill, cool. Making electronic music. I already knew a lot of people that made electronic music, but now they tell me they're using Python for it, so that's cool. Manipulating space telescope data. You probably knew this if you watched Sarah Isayun's keynote last year. She did the James Webb Telescope picture of the black hole. I don't know if you saw it, recently got sharpened up, so it looks a little more like a bagel than a donut. But it turns out there are a lot of people that work on that Webb telescope data. And then even in Cambridge, there are people who are working on other space telescopes. So the Chandra telescope also gets to talk to us on Earth via Python. And then I also met someone who said, I'm making our school's website display the information it needs to. We have a lot of schools in Cambridge, like Harvard, MIT, some other less common ones that you may not have heard of, but a lot of them are using Python to talk to their websites. Probably not surprising, right? This one I thought was really cool. Someone told me they're using Python to create reports to find out how workers in the field they work in are being treated so that they can advocate for better conditions. So the first kind of step to advocating for change is like describing what the problem is and what's actually happening. So I feel pretty good about this. Someone's using Python to improve working conditions. This one, though, is my favorite. I met someone who said, I'm organizing my experiment data to see how we're doing at curing pediatric cancer with Python. That to me is pretty amazing. I want to take a minute, like we made a programming language that's accessible and easy to use, so even when you're working on a really hard problem like this, we're helping them organize that data and become more effective and efficient at curing pediatric cancer. And, you know, fuck cancer. Like I said, it's been a year. So what else have I learned this year? That was like kind of the like, yeah, we're doing great stuff. The other thing that I learned is that almost nobody knows what the PSF is. Maybe this room not included, but maybe, I don't know. How many people do know what the PSF is? This might be an easy one because Carol just talked us up really good, which was amazing. Okay. So someone said to me, you said you work at a nonprofit, but Python is a company. And I was like, it is not. Like, you called me a liar, but also you're wrong. This was a bunch of people, like, I was at a nonprofit fundraiser, the YWCA in my town, and everyone's like, oh, I work at a nonprofit. It turns out, like, everyone who works at nonprofits goes to other nonprofits' fundraisers, so it's like this big circle where we all donate to each other's work. And I had said I also work at a nonprofit, and she was like, you do not. So this one was really funny. It was like the Python Software Foundation. Like there's one organization in charge of the whole thing. And I was like, where did you think it came from? Like photosynthesis? It just kind of like arrived? And it magically works really well, even though there's no coordinating bodies or organizations. Like, what faith in humanity you have. So, and then this one, I've worked at a couple small nonprofits, and I've gotten this one a lot. There's only 9 or 10 of you? I'm like, yeah. To that one, I have to say we are a small but mighty staff with an amazing community of volunteers. So otherwise, we would not be able to get all that much done. So just to kind of like what the PSF does, that's my job. I work here. I get to tell you what the PSF does. We're the vendor-neutral, community-driven home of the Python programming language. So that means that we make sure that Python remains a place like an open source language that anyone can participate in, it's accessible, and that it is always out in the open, and that all of the access remains there for anyone. We also support and facilitate the growth of a diverse community of Python programmers. So that means that we're always looking to grow the universe of people who are using Python. Like, we want to come find you all over the world and help you install Python, wherever you are. So in nuts and bolts, we also host massive infrastructure. On average, a version of Python is downloaded over 300 million times per day. And in 2022, PyPI saw a 57% growth in download counts and bandwidth alike. So remember I said there's like 9 or 10 of us? We don't all work on this infrastructure. Only 2 of us work on infrastructure, and the rest of all of that is done by volunteers. So we also give out grants. I love this part too, because it's like the nonprofit that gives to other nonprofits. Like, I really like that recursion loop. So we find other Python projects or user groups or workshops or smaller PyCons in other places, and we give out grants to them. So in 2022, we gave out 152 grants, over $200,000, and we gave grants to 42 different countries on 6 different continents. So if you know who's doing a PyCon in Antarctica, we want to hear from you because we have 1 continent left. So we also act as a fiscal umbrella for other Python projects. So that means like some of them are projects like Palettes or Flask, and then others are meetups or other PyCons like PyCascades or the Boston Python meetup. And they work to grow Python and expand the community. And the global network of PyLadies chapters is also under our fiscal umbrella now, which is awesome. And we help them with back office. We help them with their banking and accounting. We help them figure out how to do budgets and road mapping, and how to do paperwork and how to read contracts. I don't know if you've ever read venue contracts, but if you have trouble sleeping, I highly recommend them. So we do that for our fiscal sponsorees. And we sleep great. We also put PyCon US, this conference you're all at. Are you having a good time at PyCon? Yes. So this year, we are 2,200 people attending in person. I can't see any of you out there, so I'm going to assume you're all out there. And there are over 400 people attending online. So last year when I came on this stage, someone had mentioned me, it's kind of sad that the hybrid experience is going to be a little like less fun this year. And I said, we should fix that. So I wonder if we could kind of say hello to all the people watching via Hubelo at home, like, hello, online friends, like, we miss you, we're thinking of you. We also, this year on the PyCon Online, we added a Spanish language virtual chat room so that we could moderate conversations in both English and Spanish. So that is very exciting. We owe all of that to Georgie Kerr, who is a powerhouse wherever she is. She's probably busy doing like 5 more things, but yes. And then we brought back PyCon Active. So if you got to do any yoga this weekend, hooray! Like a little bit of stretching after like 3 days of sitting in these chairs, not bad. All right. So we've been putting on PyCon US for 20 years, which is a long time to be doing the same thing. I don't even think there are people doing graduate programs that long. Or maybe someone in this room. You can come tell me. You don't have to out yourself. But that means that this weekend's been really special. Like, people have been telling me stories about their first PyCon, or stories about, like, when they met someone and they're like, oh, I think I might stay here forever. Like, it's so nice. Everyone's been so fantastic. And we've been doing that pretty much for 20 years. So yay us. So I have some news and growth about what's going on at the foundation itself. Earlier this year, we said goodbye to Jackie Augustine. She's sort of semi-retiring and not doing event work anymore. We miss her a lot, but we still had a PyCon to run. So we hired Sarah, our new community events manager, who started in February. This event's in April. She started in February, and she's gotten up to speed on everything very quickly. And she's probably going to take a 2-week-long nap after this. So welcome, Sarah. Yeah, thank you. That means that we also promoted Olivia to program director, which means she took the lead on organizing PyCon US this year. The whole thing. Thank you, Olivia. This is like coming in the future. We're going to be hiring our first ever community communications manager. So you should watch for that posting next month. That means that we're going to be talking a lot more about what's going on in the community on our blog. We're going to be reaching out to you and asking you to tell us your stories, share your events, share your CFPs, tell us like everything that's going on. We want to have a clearinghouse of all the information and stuff that's going on in the Python community in one place, so you can come and find out what's going on. So if you move, we'll help you find your new Python community. So that's going to be a post. You may have seen Spot this morning. We're going to be hiring our first ever safety and security engineer for PyPI. And that post is already up. And that means instead of like 88% volunteer work on PyPI, we're going to have a staff person whose job it is, which is really exciting. So thank you, AWS, for that. And we're welcoming Łukasz back for a 3rd year as the CPython developer in residence. Everyone loves Łukasz, so thank you, Meta, for funding him for another year. And we're going to be hiring a deputy developer in residence to join him on CPython. So that posting is also going to be up in the next month or so. So thank you, Bloomberg, to making that possible. We could probably use like 4 Łukashes, but I think we'll just have to settle for 2. So. We're also very close to choosing a security developer in residence who's going to be making security recommendations and doing an audit for all of our workflows and infrastructure on both sides, like on the CPython and the PyPI side. And that is all thanks to Alpha Omega, which is an open SSF project that is just looking to figure out how do we do open source security in massive public projects. And so we're really excited that that person's going to be joining us soon, but I can't tell you their name because we didn't pick them yet. So. We'll clap again when we get to say who it is, but not today. So I have a little PyCon US gratitude that I would like to share. I'm just going to make you clap the whole time, just so you know. Yeah. Don't worry, there's going to be more chances. So I want to say thank you to all of our speakers. So if we didn't have speakers, well, I don't know what we'd be doing. I guess it would be hallway track, but it really wouldn't be the same conference. So thank you to all of our speakers. I also want to say thank you to all of our program volunteers. And these are sort of like, high-level volunteers that help us run a CFP, either for the poster track or one of the talk tracks. And then they organize another whole cadre of volunteers to look at all the proposals, sift through them, and then decide what gets to come and be here at PyCon. And then they do all this communication with all the speakers, schedule them to make sure all the rooms make sense and that people are going to be here on the days that they're going to be speaking. So thank you to all of our program chairs and volunteers. And thank you to all of our tutorial presenters. Did anyone go to their tutorial and learn something cool earlier this week? Yay! Yay learning! And thank you to all of our on-site volunteers. You probably saw them at registration, at the PSF booth, in the green room, as session chairs, carting things from one room to another, helping us arrange beanbag chairs, like so many things. And those are the glamorous tasks. There are so many other less glamorous tasks that we had on-site volunteers help us with. So thank you to our on-site volunteers. And then thank you to our online volunteers. So I mentioned that we had Spanish language moderation, and we also have English, English chat moderation. There are like, I think 40 or 50 people moderating some part of PyCon online this weekend. And so thank you, online volunteers. I don't know why I feel like they're out there behind us, but anyway. And then thank you to Marietta. Yay, yes. Marietta brought like a really beautiful vision of what PyCon should be, and she made it happen, and she had to show up for like probably 100 meetings along the way, and she doesn't even work here. So thank you, Marietta, for everything that you've done this year. And then this is the PSF staff who amazingly let me post these pictures of them that I took this weekend while they're all sleep deprived. But we, like I said, we have an amazing staff of people. Some people were too busy for me to even catch, but you probably saw them working the auction, at the booth. That's the back office, people at registration. I like to joke that when you work at a small nonprofit, like everyone has 5 jobs. But when you work at the PSF during PyCon, you have like 10. So I want to say a hearty thank you to the PSF staff for this past week. And then this one is for you. You get to clap for yourselves, because if we did all this work and no one showed up, what fun would that be? So thank you to all of you for coming to PyCon US and making it an amazing event. We hope you'll join us in Pittsburgh next year. Pittsburgh is real different from Salt Lake in a couple of ways. I wanted to share this picture so you know that it's humid there. So that's nice. Also, all of our trans friends are going to be able to come and join us and not feel weird about it. So that's even better. I just hope Pittsburgh is ready for us. All right, so your homework until Pittsburgh, it's not too bad. Keep telling us how we're doing. We do this for you, so like, if you hate chocolate and we bake you a chocolate cake, you should tell us you hate chocolate. Like, we're doing this for the community, so if we're not doing it right, we want to hear from you. Or you can also tell us if we are doing it right. That might soften the blow on the other comments, so feel free to tell us the other way too. And then keep telling everyone you know how much you love Python and the Python community. That's probably the easiest one. And then this one is important. That's why I put it in bold. Keep telling your bosses to financially support our work. Yes. So like when you get that like, oh, this PSF thing, should we do it? I want you to run in and be like, yes, let me count the ways. You definitely should do it. Or you can have them talk to me. I'll do that. The other thing I want to say, so we had someone approach and say, can I help you get more individual members? So this is Dan Furman. Every PyCon I am amazed and humbled by how many cool things are being built by the community. PyCon is for Pythonistas by Pythonistas, which means supporting the PSF that supports you. So in this spirit, he is pledging a $25 match from right now to the first 20 PSF supporting member signups or renewals. These are financial memberships. So please become a supporting member today and help us take Dan's money. So thank you, Dan, for letting us take your money. We do have other memberships. This is how you become a supporting member. We do have also contributing and managing memberships that you can find information on here. And all of those memberships, whether financial or not, enable you to vote in our board elections, which are going to be coming up in June. This is a great time to start thinking about if you want to run for our board. And in fact, this very room is a great place to ask, hey, do you think I should run for the PSF board? Because I think we have like 40 current and former board members in the audience. So if you become a member, you get to vote in the board election, or you could run for the board. Carol's a former board member, and she was amazing. So, finally, your last piece of homework, and this is my very obvious segue, which is a very obvious segue to the 3 people who are getting a community service award in person tonight to come up closer. But I also want all of you to think about who we should honor with a community service award. We can't be everywhere. We don't see all the amazing things that you see happening in the community. So if you see someone doing something amazing and you would like to see them honored with a community service award, you have to tell us. So that completes your homework. And now we're going to do a couple of community service awards. The first few are for folks that were not able to join us in person. And then the last 3, you know who you are, I hope. I can't really see out there. Hopefully you're nearby. Otherwise, I'll call your name and we'll, do jokes or dance or Macarena or something. So I'm going to make sure we get these read correctly because I have notes. All right. So the first award goes to John Hawley, Matthew Lago, and James Lopeman for many years of volunteering on behalf of the PSF to support students and their mentors working on Python projects via Google Summer of Code. Thank you for your service to the community. The next award goes to Philip James for all his contributions to the Python community, most notably his stewardship of the PSF's Code of Conduct Workgroup as the workgroup's chair for its first 4 years. So thank you, Philip, for your service to the community. The next award goes to Patrick Ben Cotter for his many years serving as the postmaster for mail.python.org and supporting the Python community mailing list and the PSF's email traffic. So thank you, Patrick, for your service. And then the in-person awards. I don't see if anyone is nearby. I'm going to call your name, then we're going to wait for the longest time. Okay. I'll read. How about we'll do it like The Price is Right, where I talk as they come down the aisle? Okay. So the first in-person award goes to Ned Diley for his contributions. We can clap for him twice. Thank you so much, Ned. This is for your contributions as the macOS release manager since Python 3.2 and the release manager for Python 3.6 and 3.7.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ned. The next one's going to be awfully familiar. We're bringing Carol Willing back up to the stage. We didn't let you get very far. This is for your work as a Python core developer and for your years of service on the Python Steering Council. I suspect it's also just for being you and being amazing, but I didn't write up the nomination. There are probably several. Anyway, thank you so much, Carol. Ooh. And then we have a Distinguished Service Award. The Distinguished Service Award is a little bit more of a Lifetime Achievement Award. You can come and hang out for a couple of years, but if you sort of put in decades and decades, then we give you a different award, which is our Distinguished Service Award. So this one is going to Naomi Cedar. Oh. Here, we'll come over here. All right. It's fine. We'll do a little square dance first. It is my great honor to give you this award for your many decades of service. Naomi exemplifies the ethos of create the community that you want to see. And you consistently take on these hard things that don't exist yet. And then we keep doing them because after they come into existence, we can't imagine the community without them. So this award is for decades of service to the PSF and the Python community as a board member, chair of the board, and an advocate on behalf of underrepresented people all over the world. Thank you. Thank you, Naomi. All right. Oh, actually on time this time, I think. And there's no way to top that. So thank you so much. If you have questions about the PSF or you want to ever talk to me, you can reach out to me on the interwebs. You can email me, deb@python.org, and I would be happy to talk with you more about the PSF. So thank you, and enjoy the next talk.